Bienvenidos, Freight fans. Welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Jaime and Fuego. We are here at the International Horror and Sci-Fi Film Festival in conjunction with the Phoenix Film Festival 2018 for Geek Day. And I am seated along with two fellow geeks, because I'm a geek, despite the rocker disguise of sorts. This is GEEKS WHO EAT.com. Introduce yourselves, y'all.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Matthew.
So happy to have you guys here. So I need some clarification here, because everyone eats. Every geek eats, presumably. What makes two geeks who eat like distinctive and different and cool? What's like some of that special flavor?
So we basically do geek-themed recipes. So movies, music, comic books, all sorts of like cool stuff, you know.
Think like xenomorph egg cups or Hulk smashed potatoes. Those kind of things.
That sounds dope. I'm getting hungry right now.
We totally just like, you know, come up with all these things. We do a lot of research, actually. Like, we don't just do, you know, like decorative cupcakes with like Captain America's shield on it. Like, we try to like come up with recipes that are actually like
we use like the
thematic
setting
and
the content of the movie to like inform the ingredients and, you know, the actual dish. So little more than decoration.
So putting a lot of thought into this process, obviously.
Yeah.
Do either of you have a culinary background?
Not a single bit.
I like to cook, and I'm pretty good at it, I'm told.
Sometimes that's the most important part, is just that passion, as I like to say. No, my grandmother, growing up, she owned her own Mexican-American restaurant, and my father's a hell of a cook. I grew up in a family where we were very passionate about our food, and that, I mean, just seeing the melding of these two together, it excites me, it interests me. I still, you mentioning the xenomorph egg thing, I saw something around Thanksgiving where it was a photo someone had taken where they rigged up like, it was like a sausage for the tail and then like a turkey for like the body of the face hugger.
Yeah,
it was like, is it this kind of approach, like really getting distinctive like that?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, in like the design and like presentation, we're trying to like make it like instantly read that film. So when you see it, you're like, oh, I get it. That's such a cool idea.
Yeah, like we tend to stay like, we do decorative food, but we try to like, again, hit with more of those like thematic notes. Like when Blair Witch came out, we it was like one of the first recipes we did for the local PR here, and so we researched, you know, Maryland distilled spirits, what cocktails were popular in Maryland, and then we, you know, after we settled on that, we ended up doing a cocktail based off of the Preakness cocktail, which is their version of the Kentucky Derby. So they serve a drink there called the Black Eyed Susan, and it's a vodka and bourbon drink, and so we did one called the Black Eyed Stickman. We drove 2 hours out of town to go take photos in the middle of the woods just to get these photos.
That's right.
Like, we were committed.
All the details are what really matters, because that like really sells the presentation.
Yeah, it definitely would. So it's drinks, obviously, too, which is cool.
Yep.
Man, what an extensive amount of research must go into
We do
a lot of
of
this
work.
stuff.
And what's funny is a lot of these recipes that we do for like the PR companies, we do it based off of a 2-minute trailer.
Wow.
So we don't see the movies first, so it's, you know, what we can ascertain from 2 minutes of trailer, you know, maybe 6 minutes if we get 3 trailers, but generally speaking, it's all very minimal information provided.
Yeah, you're like scouring the IMDb trying to find whatever information you
I'm
can
like,
about
who
this
saw
project.
a screening before me? Can I ask questions? Like, we had this happen with A Quiet Place. And so I was like,
just at that the other day. Have you guys seen it already?
No, we missed
then
the
I can't
screening.
tell. Oh, it's tremendous. It's very good.
Oh, we
anyway.
were so bummed. But like, I was like hunting horror groups. I'm like, who saw it? Like, I need to ask questions. Like, I don't want to ruin the movie for me, but I need these questions answered.
Now
Like,
I want to know what you guys made for that movie.
we did a salmon and corn salad.
Okay, well, the corn makes sense. There's fields of corn in the film. So.
Well, it took place in upstate New York. So when you fish in upstate New York, and I'm told that the guy fishes, you can catch salmon.
He does.
So.
Yeah, so I mean that's exactly the kind of thing we do. Like get like really in on the details. Like we were figuring, you know, they've got, you know, what they can grow or forage, so corn and basil and what you can gather, you know, salmon and it's even like a quiet. You could prepare this quietly. You could eat it quietly.
We
They
went
do in the
real
film
hard
as
on
well.
this one.
No, and now that you're giving me a little more clarification, this is way beyond what I mean. You can go visual, and that's one thing, but you're going to a much deeper level of just putting this all together. How did this start between the two of you?
Oh man, Well, Sarah had an awful day job, and I told her one day, you just need to quit. So she quit her day job. She gets to work on the blog full time. I just get to take awesome photographs for the blog. But I guess Sarah's been into social media for a long time. Maybe you.
I was a LiveJournal user, early adopter, LiveJournal, MySpace, all that jazz, and then I started blogging in like 2009 for a Disney blog, and I stopped being able to afford an annual pass, so I wasn't going to Disneyland as often. So how do you talk about Disneyland when you're not going? And I wanted to talk about food, and the site owner was really cool, and he's a good friend of mine. He's like a brother, and he's like, yeah, you can totally talk about food, and, but I couldn't do what I wanted. And so, because it's a Disney family-friendly food site, I had to stay away from alcohol, and I couldn't, do, like, themed recipes like I wanted to do. And so after talking to a PR person, she told me, why don't you guys just do it yourself? Like, start your own
Cut
site.
out the middleman.
Yeah. She's like, she goes, you guys are good enough that you don't need to have this other site. And so we just decided one day to do Geeks Who Eat, and it's been going since then.
How many years now?
It'll be 3 years in June. So trucking along.
Yeah, that is super dope, though. The opportunities to actually work with the PR firms and stuff like that. I mean, that is super rad. So what's the subject of the panel then? What's it called?
It's how to throw a horror movie themed party.
Right. I mean, when you think about it, like, that's really the payoff for all of these recipes is like when you're having like the coolest party, you've got your Harry Potter party, your Marvel party, you're like,
Want to impress all your friends.
Yeah, you can come to our website, check out these recipes, make them, and just be awesome.
We're talking, you can get mad geek cred, guys, if you actually jump on togeekswhoeat.com. So is it videos and like printed recipes, or is it just, because I know you mentioned photos, obviously. Is there various facets of it, or?
We have a small YouTube channel, but we just don't have the time to commit to it like fully. Like, someday we will get there, and someday we will figure out how to manage our time better. But right now, we're committing ourselves to so many recipes during the week that the time to do a video is hard for us because Matthew has a day job.
Got it.
And he does all our editing.
Nice. Well, way to go, Matthew, for helping out with the process. This sounds so rad to me, man. Once again, you're getting me hungry, guys. So we always have to at least do a little bit of a spin on horror. So is there any? How about a horror cannibal movie or some horror movie with creatures eating people? Is there anything that comes to mind that would be scrumptious-escent, as Mr. Will Ferrell once said?
Ooh.
Man. We've tend to make our food like things you actually want to eat. We thought about doing a project for Rob, but we thought about actually eating people. Is that in bad taste? So I don't know. We try and walk the line, but we do have a huge amount of horror content on there. We've got, like I said, the xenomorph egg cups. We've got things for Insidious. An Insidious cocktail. We've got, what are some of the other horror recipes
we did a cocktail for 47 Meters Down.
Ooh.
We've done, we did Ouija planchette tea sandwiches for Ouija Origin of Evil. We've done, we did Bloody Maryland's for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We did all the meat sliders for Leatherface. We did Necronominoms for Ash vs. Evil Dead. We did Lucille pretzel bats for Walking Dead. I'm trying to think, going through my horror. We do a lot of horror, and it tends to be a problem for us because we're such huge horror nuts, in our personal life, that we tend to just veer towards horror anything. And so we always have to be okay, we need to do a Harry Potter recipe or an Avengers recipe. We need to
balance our content.
We need to balance this. We're not the geeks who eat horror movies, so.
Horror is something that lots of people like myself do geek out on often, and that's what we've been doing all day here at the Phoenix Film Festival once again. I got to give a grande gracias to the both of y'all, and let's hit some of those social media details so that viewers who check this out can go and start preparing some of these recipes themselves and getting geeky in the kitchen.
Woohoo!
So our website, togeekswhoeat.com, but if you're looking for us, honestly, just search for Geeks Who Eat on Instagram, on Pinterest, on Facebook, online. Just search Geeks Who Eat, you'll find us.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump right on the Instagram right when we get done filming this because I want to see this stuff. Once again, a grande gracias, and thanks to everybody who's tuned into our coverage here. We look forward to bringing you more. And until then, stay scared and hungry.